Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Thank you for being here today. How are you doing? And I really mean that sincerely. I hope that you're doing well. You know, as I record this video, the world is in turmoil. There's so many things going on. We have had an incredible 2 years. We have had to reshift and rethink the whole way that we're living our lives. And I think sometimes we forget. We forget how much we have experienced in our lives, and that this perspective that we have can help us to get a view on where our lives are at the moment and going forward, how we've adapted, how we have been resilient, what we've been through. And also it can help others. And I've said this several times, but I really do think that women in their 60s and 70s, 80s are in a position to really help the world through this time. We can be a mentor, we can be a guide, we can be a wise woman to people who are going through things for the first time. Now, if you look back, you know, if we're fortunate enough to have lived 60 years, I'm 73, so I've lived 7 decades of experience and of life. And I've experienced some pretty dramatic things in this world. I mean, when I was, I think, 14, 15, I remember the Cuban Missile Crisis. I remember lying on my sofa watching this black and white TV, as the world was, in my mind, coming to an end. And it was, the things that we've been through with politics, economy, technology. Just think about the fact that, your mom and our grandparents didn't have cell phones. They didn't even know what a cell phone was. They didn't know what a computer was, or the internet, and how we've actually, developed and grown. And just take a minute to think about all the things that you've been through and what you have survived. We have been workers, we have been wives, we have been partners, mothers. We have been contributors to a world as it is today. I think it's pretty exciting, and we've got so much to be proud of. And I think that the most important thing to remember is that we have experienced the highs of joy and love and accomplishment and just, experience in this world. We've traveled, we've hopefully done the things that we wanted to do, or many of the things. There's still lots to do. But at the same time, we have crashed. We have crashed and burned sometimes. We have been at the depths of despair and sadness and just thought we were never going to make it, that we weren't going to get through. But we did. And we didn't just survive, we thrived, and we figured out ways to do things differently, whether it meant living in a different place or with a different person. And the sun is coming out to celebrate me, to celebrate us. And I just feel like that's the thing. Sometimes we're in the dark, dark clouds, and sometimes we're in the sunlight, and it's beautiful. And I think that that's the thing we have to remember. We've crashed and burned. We've also thrived and survived. We are survivors. We've done it, and we've got a lot to teach others, and I think that we forget that sometimes. We have got a wonderful combination of intelligence that comes either from education. We're probably one of the first generations to actually have gone to college and completed a college degree. We've got the experience of life as the world really evolved so fast over the last 6 decades. We've got resilience. And we've got vulnerability. Now, where's this conversation going? Well, it actually was inspired by a quote by Nora Ephron. And Nora Ephron wrote something to the effect of, basically, in fact, looking back, it seems to me that I was totally clueless until I was 50. I love that quote because it's just, to me, just a statement of truth. I mean, while we're in the middle of those ups and downs and loving and losing love and redefining our role as a mom, I mean, if you are a mother, you know what it's like to have a child, come into your life and how much that changes everything. And for those women who decided not to have children or could not for some reason, you've gone the other route. And our lives get so complicated, and our emotions can be so tangled up with what we have and what we don't have and how those things have turned out. And I know that a lot of people, are missing those earlier phases of their life, and sometimes wish they could, rewind them. But I think what Nora Ephron says is true. She said, until we're about 50, we really don't know what's going on. We're just bouncing around from one situation to another, from one role to another. We're following society's rules in the sense that we are getting work, we are going to jobs, we are earning money, we are buying stuff, we are educating our children or doing work that involves educating others. There's so many like roads and pathways and rabbit holes that I could go down in this conversation. But I think, as Nora Ephron points out with this quote, this is, now that you're 60, if you're here on 60 and Me, you probably are close to the age of 60, maybe 63, 4, 5, 80. You know, we've got lots of women who are older too. And learn from our life. Learn from the choices that we've made. Learn from the places that we've lived. And I think most of all, learn from the choices that we've made. You know, I remember, when I was like, I am a parent. I have, 2 adult children now and grandchildren. And, part of it from my life was encouraging them to make good choices. And when I look back at some of the challenges that they are having in their lives, as we all do, I think goes back to those choices, those early choices. And I think it's the same now for us going forward. We can control the next 20, 30, 40 years of our life. We can do this, but we have to know that we need to make choices. And in doing that, we have to embrace the past, embrace it, and we have to live in the present and dream for the future. There's no age limit on dreaming, and we can build a very positive, creative, and happy future. I hope that the light's not too distracting, because I'm feeling it just washing over me as the sun comes up and then it goes a little darker. And maybe that's a very appropriate, sort of tone for this video, is that, we've had our dark sides, our dark moments, and our bright moments, and here we are. I think one thing I made a note here, that there was a quote by Steve Jobs, who, of course, he designed the technology that probably most of us are using to film this video. And he said at the end of his life, because as you know, he died very young, from something he didn't expect. And he said, we don't connect the dots in our life until the end. And then suddenly I think he started to see how all the things he had done in his life, all the dots that seemed so random at the time, so unconnected, so completely, I'm just going to put my little curtain over here a little teeny bit so it's not quite so bright, that he didn't actually realize how they connected until the end of his life. And I think that's, we start with a kind of a blank canvas. I mean, we're born to a place, we're born to parents that, we don't have any particular control over that. And, unless it happens at some spiritual level, but, we're born to an address, and then we have the life to live. And things happen during our childhood that are a product of our parents, and also our environment, our economic situation. It can be complicated. And so I think it's important to know that we start as a bit of a blank slate, but we have the opportunity to color it in with lots of beautiful colors, like my necklace. It's just a matter of, choosing. But this necklace is kind of a story, isn't it, of all the dots in my life. I could almost go back and, say this is the dot from, 1 to 8, and this is the dot from 8 to 13, and 13 to 18, and I can just remember the stories of my life that's told in those dots. Each pattern in our life has a unique key back to something that we can remember and connect to and learn from. So connecting the dots, open the doors, one door at a time. Look back at your past, look back at the things that shaped you, the choices you've made. And, in some ways, as Nora Ephron, I think, said, that we're pretty clueless, and we have left some doors shut probably through our lives that, we could have opened and discovered a whole new world, but we didn't. And maybe some of those doors need to stay shut. Maybe we don't need to reveal everything to ourselves anymore. We've been through it, we've lived it, we've cried through it, we've been through it, and now we leave it shut. But I think I'd love to ask you sort of, what was one experience in your life that taught you the most? I think that's a pretty powerful question, actually. What was the one experience in your life that taught you the most? I mean, do you agree that wisdom comes from age? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe there's something else that comes. But how do you feel that what perspective do you have now on your life? Has it helped to look back and remember the dots and connect them? Anyway, I do hope it's been a useful conversation. I actually have been inspired by this quote often, and I hope it's inspired you to think about things too, that it was okay to not be really tuned in until you were 50. You could be clueless, but now's the time to start piecing together the pieces, the dots, connecting the experiences in your life, the choices, and living your life with passion and purpose, and to have appreciated everything that you've been through. And know that that's what makes you you. That makes you precious. It makes you special. So thank you again for being here, for being part of this community and part of my life. I hope that you have been inspired by this chat. And if you did, please leave your thumbs up on the video so YouTube can share it. And we'd love to see you in our 60andMe Patreon community if you'd like to join a smaller group of sisters who are here for each other. I'm here for you, always. Take really good care, everybody. Bye-bye for now. Lots of love.